Yankee season is not off to the best of starts, and I don't think that there's any reason to overreact in the 162 game sense of the season, but I do think it's fair to question what they're going to do when it really counts. Not to say that making the postseason is ever a foregone conclusion, because it's not. But they are going to hit their home runs. They are going to get their runs. And they'll be tops in the league in a lot of offensive categories. But they didn't address what I would call a problem during the offseason. And this offense is way too one-dimensional. It just is. And, again, only 3 games. In baseball, it's the last sport where you should be overreacting. There are 162 games. But it is frustrating. And to see it immediately on opening day, I don't think makes any fan feel great. So the thing with this Blue Jays series was just mainly, and the 2 losses were a bit different, but mainly just the bats just couldn't really do much of anything. The first game, Garrett Cole versus Hyun-Jin Ryu. And Cole pitched pretty well. Obviously, there's very high expectations for Cole, as there should be. And he didn't have his slider. He didn't. But even still, he was able to get 8 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings. And he would give up, pitched a good first inning. He would give up an RBI single to Lourdes Gurriel in the top of the second and was able to avoid further trouble. That inning could have gotten away from him. He just gave up that 1 run. And then in the bottom of the second, Gleyber Torres gets a single. A couple batters later, Gary Sanchez is a 2-run homer. So the one thing I'll say about the series was, from an offensive side, Gary Sanchez looked good. I still don't believe that this is going to last. I pretty much have lost all faith in Gary Sanchez, but when the guy does well, I have to certainly give him credit for that. And he only had 1 strikeout in the 3 games. It was actually the last at bat of the rubber game, the 3rd game, where he finally struck out. But at least, again, at the plate, looked better. He did. He's making some pretty hard contact. I'd still like to see him hit the ball the other way, but I'll take it. So he hits a home run in that first game, gives him a 2-1 lead. And Cole is doing what he needs to do. Pitch count was kind of up a bit, and you knew he wasn't going to go too deep on opening day. And eventually, he would give up a home run to Teoscar Hernandez in the 6th. So Ryu and Cole both went 5 1/3, and a lot of strikeouts for both teams. A lot. For the Yankees, not so much against Ryu. It would be more so against the bullpen. But Blue Jays tied up 2-2. And as I'm watching this game, I just never got a good feel for it. I never felt like the Yankees were going to win that game. Just something that just a gut feel. And what really became the problem was the Yankees, more so than anything, they were getting runners on. They just could not get the big hit or the big out either. So let's fast forward to the bottom of the 7th. And I believe David Phelps was on the mound for the Blue Jays. And Sanchez gets an infield hit. And Frazier, I think it's a bloop single. And LeMahieu walks. It ends up being base loaded 1 out for Judge. He's ahead in the count 2-0. Takes a strike. So now it's 2-1. And all he needs at this point, and mind you, this is after Chad Green pitched a good inning in 2/3 to hold it at 2-2. So we're in the bottom of the 7th. And Judge, on a 2-1 count, hits a ground ball double play at a third. 5-4-3 double play. Game's still tied at 2. So not a great job by Judge there. Then Loizaga pitches a very good 8th. O'Day pitches a scoreless 9th. And we move to the bottom of the 9th. And here, Gary Sanchez walks. They pinch run Mike Tauchman. He steals second. Now, mind you, Jay Bruce is up. Unfortunately, Jay Bruce strikes out. He does not get the run over. However, Tauchman steals third. So runner on third, 1 out. And Clint Frazier works a walk. And the good thing about that is that LeMahieu is on deck. So there's a part of me, I'm at the point now where Clint Frazier, I think he's one of the better hitters on this team. I think anyone that's watching can kind of see that. And we'll discuss what I think that they should do with the lineup, and I know that they probably won't do. But LeMahieu is up, first and third, 1 out. And that's the guy. That is the guy you want up there. And unfortunately, he swings at, I believe it was the first pitch, and it was a little kind of soft ground ball to third, and Tauchman, tries to score from third. And I get that. With one out, you go on contact, and they threw Tauchman out pretty easily. And then Judge is up, first and second, 2 outs, and he's not able to bail LeMahieu out as he strikes out swinging. So a really rough day for Judge, and it would kind of continue in the field slightly. So, and that was Jordan Romano pitched that inning for the Blue Jays. And I will say, I think it's a combination of the Yankees just striking out a lot, but also some of those Blue Jays arms in the pen look pretty good. We'll see if that lasts. But top of the 10th rolls around, and mind you, there's a runner on second. That rule still exists. I don't love it personally, win or lose, but runner at second, and the first batter, Randall Grichuk, who is a total Yankee killer. There's a few of those in the Blue Jays, but Grichuk, complete Yankee killer, gets a double over Judge's head. It looked like he was playing a little bit too shallow and he just couldn't track it. And then it's possible. Now, Jonathan Davis was on second, who's a fast runner. He was pinch running for Rowdy Tellez. And it seemed like maybe Judge could have at least maybe held it to first and third, possibly. That didn't happen. Ended up being an RBI double. However, Nick Nelson gets 3 strikes. He strikes out the next 3 batters. Holds it to 3-2. And in that situation, as a fan, all right, I totally take just giving up the run. I sign up for that. All right, 3-2. Now the Yanks have runner on second, no outs. And Julian Merriweather came in. The Yankees went down very, very easily. Aaron Hicks, who we'll talk about, strikes out looking. Then Giancarlo Stanton strikes out swinging, and he heard the boo birds. Is it a little unfair that that's direct towards Stanton? Yeah, when the rest of the team messed up, but I get it. I totally get it. And then Gleyber Torres strikes out swinging. So the Yankees end up striking out 13 times. They go 0 for 9 runners in scoring position. Just everything bad that you could have imagined. And I don't like this narrative that, this offense is just the greatest thing ever. Trust me, when the season's over, if they stay healthy, which is, who knows, they're going to get their runs, they're going to get in grooves like that. I know that will happen, but I still think it's troubling signs, if they make the postseason. I talked about a guy like Michael Brantley. I know, you can't just get everyone you want, and bringing back LeMahieu was the key, but you didn't really change the dynamic of the offense. It is, the situational hitting is just not there, and they strike out way too much. Okay, so they lose that game. And the second game, slight improvements. It would be Corey Kluber versus Ross Stripling. And I thought Kluber's outing was not great, but he kind of just worked his way through it. So in this one, the Yankees would finally, not in the prettiest of ways, they would get some hits with runners in scoring position. And that would start in the second inning, where a little bit of a 2-out rally, where Gio Urshela gets a single, Clint Frazier gets a double, and then DJ LeMahieu gets an infield RBI, a very, just kind of taps it to third, and he's able to either beat it out or the throw kind of was a little bit off. It was ruled a hit. The good thing about LeMahieu is when you make contact, things happen. You put the pressure on the other team, and so the Yankees take a 1-0 lead there. Blue Jays would score that in the top of the third, and this is where I felt, Kluber was definitely losing the plate. That's first and foremost. But also Sanchez, with some struggles, I felt like in the last couple of games behind the plate. Not going to bash him completely, but, again, some wild pitches that I think he maybe could have stopped. But how the run ended up scoring was first and third, 1 out. Biggio strikes out. And then Sanchez tries to get the runner out, trying to steal second. I would have just, if I'm him, I eat that. Because you don't want to risk the ball going to the outfield. It does. And it gets past Gleyber Torres, who I also should say had kind of a rough first game. I just don't like Torres at short. I don't. I think, is he a horrible shortstop? Probably not, but he's, I guess you get spoiled, with Didi Gregorius playing shortstop. We saw really just what he was able to do and how it really helped the team. With Gleyber, I think he's suited for second base. But so Sanchez throws the ball in the outfield, and Danny Jansen scores from third. So that is an unearned run, and it's 1-1 at that point. But Sanchez would redeem himself in the bottom of the fourth with a solo home run. Sanchez makes it 2-1 Yanks. So, again, home runs in 2 straight games for Sanchez. And if there's anyone that needed that to start the season, it's him. So, you got to like that from Gary. So, that makes it 2-1. And the Yankees would add another. And Aaron Hicks, well, first off, Judge was up with first and second, 1 out, and got a legitimate hard hit ball single. So that's a hit runner in scoring position, but the runner didn't score. It was hit so hard that the runner couldn't score, but it's bases loaded, 1 out, and Hicks is able to get the run in on an infield hit. It honestly was hit so slow. I think that could have been a double play ball if they were positioned differently. So again, making contact is key. And it counts as an RBI single, and the Yankees make it 3-1. Top of the fifth, Kluber gives up a solo home run to Marcus Semien, and his day is over. So, again, bit uneven, kind of lost the strike zone, but he was able to work himself out of jams. So, 3-2. And then Loaizaga, he's able to pitch 2 really good innings. So, again, good games for Loaizaga on the first game and the second game. And then I believe it was the bottom of the 6th. 3-2. Dolis had been walking some guys. I think it ends up being base loaded 2 outs, and they bring in a lefty to face Jay Bruce. Meza to face Bruce, and he's able to just dunk a 2-run single into left center field. Big hit for Bruce, who I felt like as the series went on, got better. Whereas in the first game, I didn't like that strikeout in the 9th inning, and his fielding, of course, at first isn't going to be great. It's a very unideal situation with Bruce. He's going to play a lot there until Voit comes back, but is able to get that big 2-run single there and makes it 5-2. Lucas Licky comes into the 7th. He gives up a run, but he hadn't pitched. It's a great story. He had a great spring training and hadn't pitched in the major league since 2015, and he got a strikeout, gives up a run. It's 5-3. And then, from there, the Yankees were able to close it out. Darren O'Day pitched 2/3 of an inning in the 8th inning. A bit unlucky. I've liked what I've seen for the most part from O'Day in those first 2 games, but Chad Green would clean it up. He gets the save, pitches an inning and a third. Yankees get the win 5-3. And so, better. And again, they made contact when they had to, and so that was the 4 hits that they would get in runners in scoring position the whole series. They would end up 4 for 24. So let's jump to the 3rd game. Rubber game. Domingo Germán making his return. Obviously, a lot of controversy here. Certainly question as to whether he should have been brought back and with the domestic incident. And Germán had a very good spring training. So a lot of high hopes for him. He was 18-4 in 2019. We know he has good stuff. So Germán versus TJ Zook. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And that just kind of goes to show, it's kind of a joke that the Yankees offense today was putrid. They would only get 5 hits. Stanton was out of the lineup, and I think Boone's reasoning was that, he doesn't want to play him 5 days in a row. I don't even know what that means because they didn't play on Friday. So they only had played 2 games. And like I said, they had the off day. So I don't know. And I know they want to get Gardner in the lineup. I get that. That, the Yankees, they're going to get Brett Gardner at bats. So he played left. Frazier played right, and Judge was the DH today. That was the one lineup change. Other than that, it was mainly the same. But Germán was not sharp today. Germán only pitched 3 innings, and he would give up 2 homers in the second. One to Vlad Guerrero to the opposite field, and then Yankee killer Randall Grichuk with a 2-run homer. I believe that's 15 home runs for Grichuk since 2018 versus the Yankees, which is absurd. To me, that just comes down to just scouting. How is that happening? He has pop. He came up in the Cardinals system and was definitely supposed to be a good player, but he hasn't really lived up to that potential. But he's really hurt the Yankees. And so it's a 3-0 ball game at this point. The Yankees would only score 1 more run, and this would be pretty much all Clint Frazier. He had a hustle bloop double. Then Gio Urshela would get a deep fly ball to get Frazier to third, and Gardner would ground out to second, and the Yankees would score that run, make it 3-1. And at that point, that was Trent Thornton that was in the game. So TJ Zook pitched 4 scoreless innings. And then basically they would piece it together. And basically the last 3 innings, the Yankees went up 1-2-3 in the last 3 innings. The bright spot here, Michael King pitches, and it's a shame. Michael King pitches 6 scoreless innings, 1 hit ball, not that many strikeouts, but I did not expect that at all. And he really saved the bullpen. The Yankees have 3 games coming up with Baltimore at the stadium. And, you know, the Yankees had been using their bullpen. Keep in mind that Aroldis Chapman was suspended for the first 2 games of the series, so they weren't able to use him. Should mention that. But Michael King really did a great job, but the Yankees could do nothing at all. Nothing at all. Merriweather gets another save. I think Romano pitched an inning. Phelps had pitched an inning. It was a lot of the same crew. Borecki came in. So Yankees lose 2 out of 3 at home to the Blue Jays. And you would have, I mean, to expect the sweep, I think, would have been unfair. But, you know, you would have certainly signed up for winning 2 out of 3. And it's not the end of the world they lost the series. That's not the point. It's more so the way that they lost it. And an easy switch for me, and it's not everything, but Aaron Hicks, how is this guy batting third? I don't quite understand it. And with the Yankees, they're so into the fact that he is, you know, a switch hitter, meaning that he's mostly a left-handed hitter because there's more right-handed pitchers, naturally. So they like to, you know, kind of split the lefties up in the lineup, which there aren't many, but I don't care. Aaron Hicks, he walks. That's like the best thing he provides. But this is a guy that kind of consistently doesn't hit for a great batting average at all. To me, an easy switch, just a simple 1-for-1 switch, which they'll never, ever do, at least not for a while, is just switch Clint Frazier for Aaron Hicks. I mean, that's it right there. There's other changes I would make, but my point is Frazier needs to be elevated in this lineup, and Hicks needs to move down. That's kind of the main thing. So Hicks, I think, it's only 3 games. We know what he can do, but he doesn't belong there. I think fans of the teams must look at this lineup and say, why is Aaron Hicks batting third? And they'd be totally correct. Another guy that, curious to see how he does, Gio Urshela, who has honestly been one of my favorite players the last couple of years. You always fear that maybe he goes back to kind of what he had been, which was a great fielding third baseman. He was just a weak hitter. So, but I like Gio. I give him the benefit of the doubt, but we'll see what he does. And yeah, like LeMahieu needs to produce in this lineup. He is such a key cog in this lineup. As he goes, the rest of this team goes. So I would expect him to get going. But now it's a 3-game set home against the Orioles, who are coming off a very impressive sweep at Fenway Park against Boston. Clearly, Boston's going to be struggling this year. I think we knew that, but this was certainly eye-opening. I mean, home against Baltimore, you wouldn't expect them to not only get swept, but they just got they couldn't score at all. And then this last game, they were down 10-0 at one point. So Baltimore's going to be coming in with some confidence, and I wouldn't take them so lightly. Last year, they actually played pretty well. People forget that. They really, especially in the first half of that 60-game season, they were in the mix. So I think, you know, again, you're hoping to win series. So I think for the Yanks here, just from that angle, you just try to win 2 out of 3. It'll be Montgomery, Cole for his second start, and then Jameson Taillon making his Yankee debut on the Wednesday outing. So we'll see what this next divisional series brings, but it needs to be a lot better, and this offense really needs to improve. And just in the big picture, we see what this team does against what could be good pitching, and I think it's troubling signs down the road. I think if I'm Brian Cashman, I think long and hard, and it's not easy, about how I can change the composition of this lineup. But we'll see what happens. Excited the season has begun, and we'll be doing these pretty much every series, just about. So I'll be doing another episode after this Orioles-Yankee series. I'll talk to you guys then.